Great. Welcome to the Land Use and Ethics Subcommittee hearing for February 23rd, 2021. Today, we're just going to be taking up one bill, House Bill 20, which is a bill to deals with MDOT's tree planting and along the Purple Line route and elsewhere. And this is a bill that came in with a very strangely high fiscal note. And the sponsor has done a lot of work working with MDOT on some amendments that we have now in hand. And we're also joined by Melissa from MDOT. Maybe Patrick, could you start with reminding us about the bill, and then then we can turn it over to MDOT to talk to us about the letter that they sent and about the amendments in the program. Thanks.
Well, the bill simply requires tree planting to replace trees that were removed on the Purple Line project. They did obviously follow the Forest Conservation Act, but they did off-site planting, which is allowed under the Forest Conservation Act, but doesn't benefit for those that live in the areas affected by the Purple Line. And then the amendments, not to steal from Melissa, but they establish an urban tree program and expand the program to apply to all transportation facilities projects, not just the MTA projects, and specifically including the Purple Line. And and they also will prioritize plantings in areas affected by environmental justice issues or heat island effects.
Great. Thanks. Melissa, do you want to talk to us a little bit about the, any more in depth about what the amendments are? And Danny, do you want to have them? Do you want to pull them up on to share your screen?
I can pull up the reprint, yep.
Sure, thanks. Melissa, do you want to talk us through sort of the department's thinking? And I know you've worked a lot with Delegate Charkoudian, so thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, one, for having me today, but also shout out to the sponsor who worked very hard with us on this. She was definitely open to conversation, so we really appreciate that. And so the bill as drafted, and as Patrick said, now it's addressing this urban tree program. And so this has been something that the department has had in the works for a bit now. And so we're excited that this is kind of a vessel here. And so the bill, as he said, it's now expanded to transportation facility projects and not just the Purple Line. And through the detachment from the Purple Line project, that's where we see the fiscal note drop exponentially. And so we don't have yet the revised fiscal note, but we sent a letter around. And so in removing it from the Purple Line project specifically, we no longer have to go through a new NEPA study. We no longer have the capital investment. And so we believe that in working with community and local stakeholders, as well as MDE and DNR, this is something that we could definitely put into place across the state.
Great. Excellent. Thank you. Danny, could you scroll down just a little more so folks can just keep reading? Great. And then thank you for your letter. I think your letter clarified that we sent to the whole subcommittee members. You should have received the letter sort of explaining it was updated information for the committee's consideration based on proposed amendments, and talked about, there will be capital costs to plant trees, of course, but that's not in this bill. There's no sort of, mandate. We don't have an updated fiscal note, but based on the information that MDOT has provided, are there any concerns or questions? Right now, I have one more question, but any questions from anybody else, folks? I don't see a hand. Oh, Marvin, Delegate Holmes.
Thanks. We don't have a revised fiscal, but do we have any idea what it might be? Any realm? I see it was initially it was 500,000. Is it in a range of what? I don't know, something. Any idea?
My understanding is that there should almost be no fiscal note, but I don't know, Patrick or Melissa, if you have any other thoughts.
And so the fiscal note, now, obviously, like you mentioned, there will be a cost for the trees and the maintenance of trees. But hopefully in working with other departments and communities to help us maintain the trees will have a cost to purchase the trees. But the hefty part of the fiscal note originally came from the NEPA study, any additional project delays, utilities and right-of-way agreements. And so that was roughly about 50% of the fiscal note alone. And so removing it from that will drastically decrease it.
Okay. And the only reason I'm asking, Brooke, because I don't want us to get caught.
Yeah, understood.
I got my own bill caught on the floor, and let me tell you, it's not a pleasant scenario to be going through.
Yeah, understood. I mean, I think one thing that we could do, generally DLS doesn't do revised fiscal notes until
I
you,
know, yeah,
right?
that's true.
So, yeah, so my thought is that we could, if the members are willing, we could pass this today, go back to DLS before Friday and say, we are adopting this amendment. Is there any, can you give us any updated information? But I feel comfortable that because the hefty part of the fiscal note was having to do a new NEPA study, which was not the intent of the sponsor, that this will hopefully provide a much, much, much lower fiscal note. I absolutely hear your concern. So we can adopt the amendment, right? So at least we've indicated that we want to adopt this type of amendment. There is some action on it, and then we can go back to DLS as well. I had one other question, which was about the Forest Conservation Act and how, Melissa, if you or MDOT has thought about how this new urban could help fulfill requirements under the Forest Conservation Act, because that could actually bring the fiscal note down even further because MDOT has to incur costs anyway. So, if it's working within the Forest Conservation Act, it could help.
Yeah, that's true. And so what I can do is I don't have that information directly, but I know that it was our environment team who actually drafted and proposed the amendments. And so what I can do is circle back with them and check how this fits in and then send that information over to you and the subcommittee members.
Okay, great.
And Delegate Lehrman, we can pass this bill out of subcommittee with the amendment and just hold it, not
Right.
to the committee.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And we can see if DLS can give us some updated fiscal information too then. Great. Any other questions on this bill for Patrick or for me or for Melissa? Is there a motion on the bill?
Move the amendment, Madam Chair.
Yes, an amendment. And a second?
Second.
Great. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Any opposed?
Move the bill as amended, Madam Chair.
Second.
Great. All those in favor of moving the bill as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Great. Any opposed? Great. Okay, we'll report out to Chairman Barve that we have an amended version, and we will see what we can do to get some finality on the fiscal notice. But thank you. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you,
And we'll be in
Melissa.
touch.
Of course,
Thanks.
thank you.
Take care. See you all soon.